Welcome back to Spec. Today I'm going to be looking at Warhammer Conquest issue number 45, and it's the $7.99 still, and we've got the seam running down front. That means we've got our models on the back, and there we go, there's a sprue. Seems like a lot of models, but actually it's a scout squad. That's going to give us 5 models. You see there by the legs, but it's going to give us a variety of options, so it'll be interesting to have a look and see what we've got. Probably not one of the most popular magazines. I pretty much can tell because these models aren't used as often as they used to be. Back in the day, these were the thing to have on your board for board control. But rather than talk about it, let's look at it. Let's get it open. As always, let's start with the sprue, and we can see the sprue here. I can already see it's looking clean and tidy. There's no marks, deviations, but you'll see it's marked with the letters this time round, like C, A in pairs. That's because with these older style models, fitting them was pretty precise. They didn't have that much leeway. Now with the newer models, the Primaris models, everything just fits up pretty much universally, which is fairly good. So just have a look again, see if I see any defects. Nothing on there. These aren't even dated, like the modern sprues. Either way, it looks okay, and they're in blue plastic. Normally these are not in blue plastic, they normally come in grey, so that's one thing that's different. So they must be using an old mould for these. That's an interesting thing to look at. We have the old bases, and these bases are tiny. I think they're about 25mm, and this was the original size of these bases, and pretty much fit your mini marines. I wonder if there's a dates in there. Yeah, 2005. See if we can get that in shot there. It's a bit difficult to see, so tiny, it doesn't focus too well. Come on, let's go. There you go. 2005. Doesn't make any difference. When they get on the battlefield, it's good, and in fact with small bases you could hide the models a lot more easier behind terrain, so that's okay. Now let's have a look. So a nice bit of cover work there. Loving the warm colours. I love warm colours. It is what it is. Let's move forward. So I wonder what they've got here. So we've got scouts information. So we're going to have where they are and where they place and what they're about the new recruits, because all the new recruits have to be scouts to start off with. With the Shadow Spear information, the eliminators, it changes the whole game of the Primaris Marines and scouts in relation. So don't get too attached to scouts. Space Marine scouts, building, painting, and options in combat. And we're going to get the data sheets. We're going to get the stats. Right, so we've got the role, we've got the layout here. So we've got what they do, the battlefield role, and what they're specialists in. So every single Space Marine has to go through scout training, so they actually specialize in all of these things. That's why they're such an amazing combatants. And they're in gameplay though, they're highly overlooked because they don't have much armor, but if you get them into cover, they're really resistant. So you got the Black Templars training, you got Wolf Scouts. Every single set has their scouts, every single Space Marine army has their scouts. You got the war gear, optional shotguns, they tend to work well. Chainswords. When you have Blood Angel scouts with chainswords and they get up close right away, they could be a great distractor and cause a lot of damage. They've got the grenades, camo cloaks, they're really good as well for cover, and your binoculars for range. The binoculars doesn't come into play yet. I'm not too sure if there was ever an edition that it did come into play, like increasing the range maybe by, you know, a couple more inches for weaponry. So we see we've got the scout war gear there, and we've got sniper rifles. My scouts that I currently have for Blood Angels are all sniper scouts, and that's just the way I like them. Build order there. So building, you will need your glue, and you can see that the build section here is a lot bigger because back in the day it wasn't as simple. You know, this might have been the first time you're actually going to get full rules, or sorry, full instructions on how to use them. Games Workshop went through a phase where they would have like black and white instructions, and you had to guess from the image what went where and hope that the image they used was the right one. So seeing this is actually quite good. Never know, I might make myself some shotgun scouts. They probably want you to make all different variations so you can play them all. You can continue to see. Here, optional items and weapons. Back before, if you had a character and you had it modeled with a particular weapon, you could use that weapon. So like combat blades or chainswords, you might have those like, what would you call it? Kind of like parade items just for show. But if it was modeled, then the character could use them in combat. If it wasn't on there, then you couldn't use it. Even like your pistols, they used to have pistols and holsters. If your Space Marine didn't have it on them, you couldn't actually use it in the shooting phase. So if you actually add them, maybe paint them before you add them to make it a bit easier, but it will help you to remember to use them in combat. Colours, painting, obviously we've got our base, we've got our Rakar flesh. Well, you'll see my scouts and see the different to that, that's fine. I don't think it's very stealthy having bright white trousers, but that's the colour scheme of the Ultramarines and that's what it is. You got your lead belcher. A lot of people worry about going over certain areas there, but don't stress, get that on and then come back for the underlayer. I normally do the underlayer then go over top, but if it's that close, you know what, it's not going to hurt going that way either. So you got your Abaddon, you got your Retributor, Mephiston and Bugmans. You got your shading there, Agrax to bring it down a touch, nice. You know what I actually like? I like that this painting guide has expanded. And it's well worth going back and going over your previous models that you painted. And this right here is a major thing, lenses. You don't often see tutorial lenses. You do on YouTube, you do see them on social media, but you don't really get that little tip to see it just paused out. So that's really nice to see. Mechanica standard grey. Basing materials, you guys know not to use your brush for your Astro Granite. Please don't waste a brush on that. Painting weaponry. Now this is a nice little thing they have here, so they can show you multiple weapons all at the same time, how to paint them. That's good to see. That is good to see. Nice. War gear with options. So it's talking about you can replace X with X because some lists have multiple options, and that's the reason why they've given you all those different types of scouts. Well done, well done, well played, well played, well played. So war gear, the equipment, what they are, so you can see it and identify. I like the idea of seeing the item so you know what it is. If you're new to this, then you know all these different weapons are totally different, especially if you've just been using Primaris. Scout squads, there's different options, so you will use a different weapon option as you fire that particular weapon. It may take a lot longer, so some people have squads dedicated to certain things. So you might have a shotgun squad, or you might have like a chainsaw squad, or you might have a, and so on and so on. Okay. So, combat knife, it's good to see that there. You make one additional attack with it. And that should be the same for the chainsword. Have they not got the chainsword? No, I don't see the chainsword. Even though they've got it here. So it'll be classed as a combat knife. Is that something they're phasing out here? I don't know. So I'm just going to leave that be. So that's their stats. So where they're coming from now, we've got a mission part here. From the shadows, you got a little Vox transmission there, story. See, I like that Poxwalker there. Love to see that. And this Professor Coat here, we've got to see that. There you go. So extract the data. So you have the armies, 4 units of 3 Poxwalkers, 1 Plague Champion with Bolt Pistol, Plague Sword and Power Fist against 1 5 squad units of Scouts. Yeah, I suppose they have to hold these objectives. They're not treating them as individual, and they have to get there, collect 3 objective markers. Okay. Poxwalkers are slow, so I suppose you could run away. Bolt pistols. I mean, yeah, sorry, the champion, you could just try to fire down first of all, because once you've done that, they've got no kind of offensive weaponry. So it could work, but they have got the concealed positions rule. So just going back there, something I didn't mention. Concealed positions. So when you set up this model during deployment, it can be set up anywhere in a battlefield that's more than 9 inches from the enemy deployment zone. So you could set that up. These are the enemy deployment zones. You could pretty much set it up anywhere else, just 9 inches away minimum. Now the rules have changed slightly in some cases, but that doesn't matter because that's the rules of the magazine, and that's what we're going with. So there it is. Warhammer Conquest number 46. Wow. Number 47. I was never really a fan of the land speeder, and now that I'm getting a Primaris army built up for my Sons of the Phoenix, I can't see me utilizing a land speeder other than dropping it in my Blood Angels squad. But as part of the collection, I will keep it. If I do get a spare one, I'll probably do a giveaway on it, or maybe start up a White Scars army. Oh no, either way. So what I'll do is I'll get together the scouts up. So these are how I've done my scouts, and I have modelled them based on the suggestion of the magazine, which was basically try one of each. So a pistol, combat knife, bolt rifle, shotgun, heavy bolter, chainsword and pistol. Strange thing is the chainsword isn't actually on the sheet itself, but we know it functions like a combat knife, so I've just left it as that. But this is the scouts. I've just coloured the pauldron, the appropriate chapter, and everything else in black. And for now, I have left the bases. I'll figure that out soon. Alright, so that's it. This has been Spect. Hope you enjoyed. PC out.